Hello my friends, I'm Hondo, and welcome back to our Let's Play of Aurora. This is episode 48. Let me bring you up to speed on what I've done since episode 47. It's not been too long, but I have gotten a couple things done, so let me bring you up to speed here. First, in terms of colonies, we had that really nice sector for the Eridani, so I went ahead and picked a planet there, and put our human furnaces on it. It took very little actual terraforming. Basically, once I got rid of all, because it had a whole pile of like carbon dioxide and crap. So once I got rid of all the bad atmosphere, it actually only took just this tiny little bit of cooling gas, basically anti-greenhouse gas, to bring the temperature down to where my human furnaces are happy with it. So I gave them some oxygen, brought the temperature down just that little bit, and now they are completely and utterly happy. No, maybe not quite. I think I have to go and... I didn't notice that. I thought I had them 100% done. Okay, well, I'll go back and fix that after. That's not a big deal. Actually, I can set the terraformers right now because they're not currently doing anything. Let me do that real quick while I'm thinking about it. The other one I'll mention is the Gliese system. That's the one that we had where there was those ruins. So they finally finished the xenology study, and it found a population that had 8 exploitable ruins. So I sent in the construction brigades, and they went ahead and dug all those out, which was nice of them. And what happened there is they found obviously the installation, but when you dig them out, you just get basically random stuff. I didn't get lucky and get a research lab because that would have probably given me a new technology, but I found a couple of mines. I've since built up a bunch more, but what have you. But the main problem was, because I wasn't intending to colonize this world, one of the things I got from it, and I never really clued in at the time, was infrastructure. And it just, I said, oh, okay, great, infrastructure, whatever, didn't even think about it. Well, the problem with that, of course, is the civilian fleets said, oh, hey, he's put infrastructure on that world. He must want to colonize it. So they started hauling colonists to it. I didn't really notice. I came back later to check and see how many more digs we had, and all of a sudden, there was population there. I mean, obviously, it's grown quite a bit since, but because it was just a small number then, but... And I thought, well, crap, and that's when I noticed, oh yeah, infrastructure. So, well, if I'm stuck with this place, I might as well fix it. So I went in and did some terraforming. And actually, this one wasn't that much to do either. Originally, the place was it was really, really cold, and it had an ice sheet for a hydrosphere. So I started adding the greenhouse gas to warm it up, and it didn't take very long at all. Just a couple degrees. It must have been pretty close. And then I got a message in the log about how the ice sheet melted. So now it has a liquid hydrosphere, and that changed the planetary albedo. Albedo is basically the amount of light and heat reflected off of the surface of the planet. But anyway, that shifted this number, and the temperature jumped from, I think it was like 2 degrees or something, all the way up to like 28, 29 in one shot. Like, wow, that's quite impressive. So I shut the greenhouse gas off right away. Because that temperature is about right for standard humans. So then, of course, I just added oxygen and then added some nitrogen just to fill out the atmospheric pressure. And at that point, they're completely happy. So now I have a pretty substantial little colony here. It's not too powerful in terms of like construction and mining and all that, but in terms of population, it's been growing quite well. Because I set this to be a destination for colonists, and I set every single other place I have that has standard humans to be a source. So they just kept flooding people here, which is neat of them. Let me go back here real quick and see if I can see what they are upset with. Maybe is that temperature still a touch too high? What temperature do they want? Ah, okay, so it is. It's just a touch too high, 138. There's other ways of finding that number out, but I think that what I just did there is the easiest way. So this is just a smidgen too hot for them. So all I need to do then is to go back to the anti-greenhouse gas, and we'll add that to basically 0.15. So I'm just going to add a teensy little bit, which will bring the temperature down just a tiny little bit, and that will be fine. The rest of the time was spent, I spent a lot of time in the ship designer, so as to be able to build this ship here, which, as I mentioned, I was going to make sure, because it had a long build time, so I ran the clock until it's almost done. But let me show you the design of the Bugstomper. I decided to go with, I was humming and hawing between a bunch of smallish ships, kind of like the old Slugger, or one massive one. I went with one massive one. Let's bring up the Bugstomper here. So, yes, I called it a Super Dreadnought, and I think at 684,000 tons, that's appropriate. Okay, here we go. So I put 100 of my low thermal drives on it, not that that will matter so much, but 100 drives, so it still actually goes really fast, okay? Tons and tons of fuel. Obviously, you need that because the thing's so heavy. I put on 100 shields. Because remember, I was getting wrecked by missiles, so keep that in the back of your mind as we look over this design. So 100 shields, 100 CIWSs. So almost nothing will get past this number of CIWS. Even if some of them do, there's 100 shields. And if they get past all that, I put 100 thicknesses of our armor on this thing. So this thing, there's no way this thing's getting damaged, is the short answer. So you think, okay, so that's excellent. Now how about fighting back? Because obviously CIWSs are purely a defensive. I like laser, but I decided I want to try something different, so I did some research on plasma carronades, built one of those, and threw 100 of those on. Will that be better or worse than a laser? No idea. But the fact that I went from a ship with one gun to a ship with 100 guns tells me it's got to be better. And then everything else on here is just, fire controlled power plants and all the usual stuff you need to make all this stuff run. So that is our beast. Yeah, if you see here the build time, it's been building for 3 years already. So I have advanced the clock quite a bit to get it to a point where it's almost ready. So just 2 ticks of the month. And you'll see down here we're getting messages about the gas pump being low on fuel because I just finished dumping off, and I dumped off too much. Now it's complaining it doesn't have enough fuel. Even though it's currently refueling at a star, it's below the 20% where it complains, so you can just ignore those messages. Anyway, we are just about ready to go and have sweet vengeance upon our bug friends in the GJ sector. GJ 1002, I think it was called. And that will be absolutely glorious. Alright, let's, there we go. It is ready. Oh, I'm very excited about this. I think this thing, I set its name to be swords, so this one is called the broadsword. I think the broadsword here is going to do very well. That's my opinion anyway. Okay, so I do have to remember how to get there, though. That might take me a minute. Was it through Toast City, I think it was? Then 7... Yes, so I did remember. Excellent. So I'm going to tell it just to move to there. That way I can then... Oh, actually there's an activate shields right there. Activate the shields, and then go through. And I'll pop over to here. When I left off the last episode, I still had the apparition in here, and we had just lost the little slugger. So it had left, of course, a life pod. So I still had the apparition here, but all their ships were still headed this way. So it was a little bit sneaky. I had to play a lot with the speed of the apparition so I could make sure I got in before the life pod expired, but after the ships had passed. See, what they had done, I guess when that ship first came in, they targeted the jump point where it came in. I thought they were actually heading for the jump point to go and use it, so I was a little bit worried that they were going to come and do a counterattack. But anyway, so I zipped in and I grabbed the life pod, but by then they were starting to come back, and they noticed me. Like I was within an active sensor range. So I told the ship that it should try and get up over to the Ross jump point. So then they were chasing me. Of course, my ship was much faster, but they were actively chasing me. So then what I did is once I got outside of active range, I cut the speed right down and I zipped over here and told it just to hang out at one of these planet's moons. I think moon 12, I think, doesn't matter. One of these. So it's off to the side, and then I turned the engines down to like nothing, like 1 kilometer per second. So no thermal output whatsoever. They fell for it and they kept going. They went up here to look for me. I wasn't there. Then they flew back. Now, having all those life pods meant I was getting a lot of maintenance failures on the apparition, but it was okay. It survived it. Once they were past, I then told it to fly up here very, very slowly. And because I was watching to see if they would turn around. They didn't catch me. But they all landed back where they live. And by then I was around here somewhere. So I snuck the bee in, turned its engines down to almost nothing. So it was also giving off very little emanation. Built a jump gate. They didn't notice it. Built the gate, sent the bee back home. By then, of course, the apparition is almost there. So I just creeped the speed up ever so slowly. Got through there. Put it back up to full, raced home to Earth, dropped the survivors off, fixed the ship. Oh, it was an adventure. Oh, it was something, all right. I probably should have recorded it. If I had known it was going to turn into such an exciting chase, I would have recorded it. But at the time, I got too into what was actually happening to worry about it. But anyway, so that's what happened. It was quite interesting. But for now, we are simply going to wait for the broadsword to show up. And then we're going to have a little chat with these bugs about who exactly owns the sector soon. Okay, we have arrived. Tee-hee. I'm going to do that thing again I did last time where I keep this screen here up, just a little off screen, so I can easily click to it and get at it. Same as before, so shields are definitely on. I don't really need the active sensors on at this point. I will say, though, to automatically sort that out. I really don't know, though, if I need to be doing something with this, because it keeps defaulting back to none, but I think it does actually keep the settings, because it has changed this number, which tells me it must actually be active. So, that's all fine. I'm going to set it to auto fire, as opposed to sync fire. I don't think I need to aim all of the cannonades at the same time. They can fire whenever they want. But the important part is that the shields are on. So I don't think anything's getting, any of their missiles are even going to touch the armor. And even if they do, there's no chance they're going to hit anything critical. Anyway, I will for now tell it just to go ahead and pick somebody and chase them. I guess it doesn't really matter which one. Nope, not comets, contacts. I think it was the Uziel I was officially after the last time, so I will say go ahead and start chasing that. And we'll go in 20-minute bursts for now. The ship is even faster than the previous one, so even though it's way bigger, it has so many more engines that it's very, very fast. I would like to zoom in a little bit so I can see here. Okay, distance is still 500 million, so we're still nowhere near it. I'm sure they can see me by now because they are moving, so they obviously know I'm here. I'm not even attempting stealth. There's no cloaking device on this ship, and the thermal is pretty high, even though they are low thermal engines. I have so many of them, it's quite significant. Okay, so the Uziel is in this group that I'm going after, so that's perfect. And I think now we're getting to a point where I should probably go less than 20-minute intervals. Let's just go into 2-minute intervals. So I'm about to be in their active sensor range, which I'm assuming means they will start firing missiles at me fairly soon. Snicker. I have no fear of their missiles, in case you can't tell. Oh, and I did finish the scanning with the apparition. Afterwards, I came back and finished the scanning, and I can tell now for sure what they're guarding. There's not only that wreck we found, but it's a wreck is floating around a ruined city. So there's another place for another xenology team, and then diggers and all that. Once I clear these guys out, so as if I wasn't keen on destroying them before, now I'm twice as keen because they're actually guarding something I want. So anyway. Let's go ahead and keep creeping towards them, nice and slow. We're still outside of range. We're still 90-something million. We need to get to, I think it was 1.4 million was the range of the plasma. So we just need to keep creeping towards them. They are still coming towards me. They haven't started retreating yet, so they obviously have not finished scanning me. Or they would be retreating by now. They also have not fired missiles yet. I'm not sure what their missile range is. I should have watched more carefully last time when they first started firing at me to see how far they were. But I was more worried about being blown up by just that horde of missiles. Although, to be honest, that slugger did do pretty well. Like, it held up against quite a few barrages before it finally fell. If I just had more weapons on there to take them down a little bit quicker, it probably would have been okay. Or maybe just more CIWS or something, but either way, it did a lot better than I thought it would. So I think this ship's going to be just fine. Let's keep creeping towards them. Now we're going to keep getting stopped for sensors. That's fine. Not a problem. We'll just keep easing our way in. Maybe I will put the active sensors on just so we can get it over with. Because let's face it, I don't care if they are aware that I'm scanning. It's irrelevant. Yes, so now we know about all this stuff, so now it should stop bothering us about new contacts. Unless they're firing more and more missiles. Look at this. This is nasty. That's just how many missiles they're swarming me with. Look at this. This is crazy. Every single one of those dots is a salvo of missiles. Huh. It's almost like they think that's going to help them. Anyway. Can I go a little bit quicker here, just until we get closer? No, it's still sitting in what I'm assuming is... Oh, it jumped ahead that time. Okay. Alright, look at all these missiles. Whoa, too far, too far. Okay, there's the missiles being fired at me. And here's where they're actually coming. There we go. So, all missiles destroyed, all missiles destroyed, all missiles destroyed. Okay, so no missiles got through. They are shooting at me now with their little, those little either rail guns or, I'm not even sure what they are, maybe they're meson cannons. I don't think I ever figured out exactly what they were shooting at me with. But it has some kind of, okay, they are rail guns, so we did figure it out actively. Okay. They're just plinking at me with their little rail guns, so they theoretically are going to hit me with those. I mean, I can't stop those things from hitting. Although they're doing so little damage that the shields aren't even, like, my shields don't care. It just doesn't affect them at all. So, we will continue to creep in here. There's so many missiles and such, I can't even see what's going on because there's so many messages about them. But so far, none of these missiles are touching our shields. The only thing touching our shields are their little rail guns, and even then they're doing so little that I'm not even noticing it. Oh, this is awesome. This is how vengeance is done, and I haven't even started shooting at them yet. This is purely just removing their long-range attacks from them. And And I'm not even using all 100 of these CIWSs. It's generally only firing 1 to 3 of them and blowing away all the missiles. And I've got 100 of them, so even if they had swarmed the missiles a lot closer together, I think I'd still be fine. But right now, because they're kind of all spread apart, because all the ships fired at different times, they have no chance of hurting me here. This is delightful. It's a bit of a pain in the log screen here, but once all these missiles are done, then things will get a little bit easier, because the only messages we'll have are the little shots that they're plinking at me. Okay, there's all the missiles done, so now we can keep easing towards them. And since this is a much faster ship than the previous, even if they do decide to try and fly away, I'll be able to catch them very quickly. Because I'm about 20,000 kilometers per second faster than the previous one, so a little over double speed. Oh, it looks like the bushwhacker wants to be first. But yeah, I think they're flying away and basically leaving this guy here as cannon fodder. That's fine, the bushwhacker can be first. I don't mind that at all. Hello, little bushwhacker. Goodbye, little bushwhacker. You're first. And just in case it wasn't clear, we'll redo the FC there, auto, and we'll continue to pursue their ship here. Waiting acknowledgement. I am still too far to fire, so I need to make sure it's set not to fire yet. Because I think that's what it means by awaiting acknowledgement, I think. Although it might be something else it's talking about. Yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, it's fine. Put this back on auto so we can continue to creep towards it. When I get to just shy or just over 1.4 million, then I can stop and get ready to actually shoot them, because that's the range of my plasma. But yeah, they are definitely retreating. I think this one's trying to go around the side while these ones are retreating. I think this guy's clearly sacrificial lamb to try and slow me down. It won't work well. It won't slow me down much, that's for sure. Almost on it. I mean, it's not a bad idea on their part to try and fly away and keep a bit more distance. It gives them more time to load up more missiles, but they should have figured out by now that those missiles are doing precisely squat. Okay, so they are in fact firing missiles again. That's fine. We need to be just a smidgen closer. 1.4 is our range. Here we go. So the carronade has fired a whole pile of them. Okay, so we're getting a lot of misses. Okay, so it looks like the plasma carronade doesn't do well against armor. Is what I'm getting from this. I suppose I should have actually looked up what each of the weapon types do before I decided on one. I just basically picked plasma kind of at random and went with it. But okay. But that should at least tell me a little bit more about the bushwhacker. It knows it has at least armor 1. So I think that means I basically have to punch through that armor 1 point at a time, which will take potentially quite a while. Although, like I say, I do have 100 of these things to fire. They won't always hit, of course, but I'm assuming the closer I get, the easier it'll get to hit it, so. Anyway, we'll recharge those guns and we'll get ready to feed it another round of pain. Meanwhile, the other fleet's firing another set of missiles at me, which is cute and all, but not really helpful. Just about ready to open fire again. It's a shame the CIWSs don't fire at enemy ships, because if I got close enough, that would be an easy way. Oh, hang on. I think I'm seeing actual real damage here. Or maybe it's just, it wasn't that it only deals 1 damage at range, or to armor. Maybe it was because of the range, because I was much, much closer this time and just absolutely pounded the crap out of this thing. So it must have been at range. It must have a high range dissipation. Okay, that's good to know. Either way, I just completely obliterated that ship. So now it is time to choose a new victim here. Tee-hee. No, I can't follow that anymore because it's gone. So let's go back to chasing Uziel. That'll do. We'll just do a 5-second to clear the log here. Okay, so they actually, yeah, they definitely hit me at least because the shields took some damage, but nowhere near coming down, so no worries there. Okay, so we're still a ways away from them. Let's jump ahead a few minutes here till we get in range of all these missiles. And I will do the... oh, that's not the screen I wanted. This is the screen I wanted to do the auto FC again, just in case there's any doubt in its mind about what it's doing. I don't know if I actually have to keep doing that or not, but it's... I'd rather click a button I don't need to and have the ship fight than sit there like an idiot and just get blown apart by missiles. So, call it paranoia, call it what you will. But so far, this Bugstomper is absolutely living up to its name, which is absolutely delightful. Okay, we're just about ready to start dealing with all these missiles, so the screen's going to start going berserk again with messages. Yeah, I guess I could shut those messages off, but I do generally like having the log file show up here, because most of the time that's useful. It's only when there's tons of stuff happening that it gets a little bit nuts, like this. But either way, I think we're still fine here. Yeah, we're basically just flying right into the missiles and couldn't care less, because none of them are even hitting the shields. So, as bad as it was to lose the Slugger, it did at least let me know for sure that they are missile ships, and thus I built this Bugstomper here specifically as an anti-missile ship first, and a fighting ship second, so I have absolutely no fear of their missiles whatsoever. It's the only downside, of course, is there's so bloody many missiles. It's taking forever to process these turns, but that's okay. I guess if the CIWSs actually required energy or worse ammunition, I could be in a bit of trouble, because there's just so many of them shooting. I'd be burning through ammo pretty fast, but they must run off of power and they must have their own built-in power supplies, because they're not complaining about ammunition or power or anything. So far so good. Yeah, this is just going to be a one-sided masochistic pounding. These guys have no chance. This is awesome. This is how space battles should be. A one-sided masochistic pounding. I don't know if anyone watching is a fan. I don't even know if the show is still on, but several years ago there was a show on the telly called Robot Chicken, and one of the skits they used to do was called One-Sided Fist Fights. I just found that hilarious. It was always, you know, somebody punching out somebody else that had no chance, like, you know, a professional boxer punching a child, or, you know, a gigantic robot punching, you know, a brick or something. Like, something just cannot fight back. It was quite funny. I'm probably not describing it very well, but I always found it really funny. And that's basically what we have here. This is going to be a one-sided masochistic pounding. They probably thought they had me completely shot here just based on the sheer number of missiles, but, I mean, clearly, not even close. Not even close. Okay, we're done most of the missiles. There's still a few more to go, but we're done the worst of them now. Now they're just firing little size 1 missiles. Absolutely worthless. Even if they did hit me, I'd barely even notice them. At least the ones they were firing before were size 3, so they could at least deal a little bit of damage. Okay, now that we're in range, they're firing some kind of kinetic weapon, probably railguns again. They're doing basically no damage to the shields. Or so little I don't care about it. I'm still not quite in range to shoot them yet. Not that it's easy to tell, of course, because I can't really see, but... Well, maybe I am in range. Are we not firing on them? Let's just do that. Maybe it was still only worrying about missiles. So far, I don't see it actually firing the plasmas, interestingly enough. I guess there's still a lot more missiles that I'm just not able to see because there's too much on the screen. But anyway, it's okay. They'll run out of missiles eventually. If it comes right down to it, I'll let them just completely empty their missile racks. I don't care. These missiles do not frighten me in the slightest. And their little kinetic weapons here, the little railguns or whatever they are just not doing enough to even remotely bother me. Is that the wreck of Penetrator? I must have shot one of them down, I guess. Oh, okay, so yeah, I'm still quite a bit of distance from them. I may also not be following one that's still moving, so I may just be sitting there. Yeah, I think I've blown up the one I was officially chasing. That might be the problem. So I mentioned this last time I fought as well. I really do wish there was an option when you say follow a ship to go after it, but not to follow a specific ship, but just to follow the combat group. Like if I could say, you know, follow this longbow group or this penetrator group, like it didn't matter which one, but if I could just say follow this group, that would be so much easier. But anyway, I guess for now we'll just say follow Caesar 1. But I think that's what's happening. They fired all those missiles, I blew them all apart, and then I blew up the ship I was officially following, and now I'm just sitting there. And they're slowly getting away, which is completely unacceptable. And there's the wreck of the longbow. On the upside, though, it does appear that even though I'm chasing the Caesar, or Kaiser, I guess depending on how Roman you are, it still ended up shooting one of the other ships. So I guess it sort of is working like I mentioned, by going after the group. But just if it happens to blow up the specific ship, then it stops, even if the rest of that group is still intact. So just little things like that, but I guess it could be a big deal if you were in a very pitched battle, one where you were not necessarily going to just easily win like this one, then it could definitely be a problem. But this one, I'm not so concerned because it's pretty one-sided. Like I have no doubt whatsoever I'm going to absolutely annihilate these things. But if it was a close battle where I actually had to really be worrying about positioning and what ship I was firing at and that sort of thing, then it could be a much bigger deal. Alright, so I just unleashed some plasma. Now it's only doing about 3 damage each, which means I must still be pretty far away. But that's fine. We will keep chasing. Oh, there I am, way up there, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm still 300k away, so I'm well within firing range, but still at high dissipation range. Okay, they're almost done recharging. Then I can unleash savage beatings. Yeah, they can do 168 at that range, which is to say no real chance of it surviving. It's only a case of how many actually hit. Yeah, just absolutely annihilating the thing. That's the end of the longbow. Excellent. Is there still a Caesar in there? I cannot tell. And again, I apologize. I know some people would much prefer it pronounced Khazar. I pronounce it Caesar. So just every time you hear it, mentally pretend I said Khazar if you do prefer the original Roman pronunciation. However, I'm English, so we say Caesar. Anyway. Alright, I just unleashed another volley, which I'm assuming means at the end of that ship as well. Yep. So now I need to go chase the other group, because that group I was chasing is completely done. Okay, chase one of the penetrators. Okay. I wonder maybe if I should have put more than one fire control on. I'm now thinking this might be a slight design flaw, because what it means is all 100 of those cannons will always still fire at the one ship, even if it would only take, 2 or 3 of those shots. All 100 still fire at it and shoot it, so most of that damage is just overkill. So maybe I should have actually put a few, maybe 5 or 10 fire controls on, so we could split this up, because you can see it here. Like every single one of those cannons fired on that same ship. And at this range, they were doing 16 damage each, which is still nice. But in all reality, I'm sure it did not need to be hit all 100 times. Like it probably only needed, a fraction of that. So I could have also been shooting at some other ship at the same time, but it's okay. Alright, so they have a Penetrator 2, but I think it was Penetrator 3 I was chasing. Let us check that real quick. Yeah, it was. Okay. Alright, let's chase the Penetrator 2. That's what I was talking about. If you happen to blow away the exact ship in that task group you're referring to, then the thing would no longer be able to chase them. So it would be nice if you could actually just say, yes, chase the actual group, not the individual ship. But anyway, it also says awaiting acknowledgement, which I'm assuming means it wants me to refresh that. Having said that, looks like they're getting away. But anyway. Yeah, I don't really know what that awaiting acknowledgement for sure means, but it basically meant the thing stopped and waited for something. So that's kind of an annoyance. Anyway. Let's, oops, not that. I want contacts. And the, no, Penetrator 2 is still there. Well, let's go back to following it then. I thought that's the one I blew up, but I guess it was not. Yeah, I really don't know what this awaiting acknowledgement thing is. I really don't know. Unless it's just sitting there while it waits to recharge the cannons, but I can't imagine that should be a complete stop. But now they've floated far enough away that I'm only dealing 2 damage per shot. Having said that, 200 damage is still enough, because I think, well, maybe not all of them were hits, but many of them were, so I guess that's still enough. I really would prefer if it would just actually chase the thing like I asked it to, instead of letting it keep getting away. Yeah, see now it hit it a whole bunch of times, but it does so little damage, the thing's taking it. Because it was just sitting there instead of chasing it like I actually told it to. That's quite annoying. So I'm really not sure what is up with that, but I've since now gotten closer, and thus this round will be much, much, much better. Yeah, that's overkill. Okay. Bugstomper is happily stomping away. What is left? Oh, there's still a couple there that are probably just hanging around the colony. Not move to, I want to follow. Although whether I do the javelin or the rakshasa doesn't really matter. It's probably really far away still, I'm assuming. Yeah, they're way down here, so we can jump several minutes. Get ourselves much, much closer before we worry about it. I don't think they're even moving. I think they're just quite literally just sitting there. So they must be like the last line of defense against people like me. Anyway. Okay, so that's where the ruins are, but they must also have an actual colony over here somewhere. So that means I will need to... where is my Cerberus? My overly large... I don't know that I really need construction brigades, but I guess we'll take them anyway. But I will need these assault battalions, the Marine battalion. I guess I'll take the construction brigades anyway, because I'm going to need them for the ruins anyway, so I guess that'll be fine. And then I just have to figure out how you get back to there, because I have no idea. Now I'll jump to Earth and refuel, that'll help. And then it was through, is it Leyland? Yes, to Tosati, and then to Ross 7. Okay, so I'm going to move to that jump point, but not come in yet. I want to make sure I've got all the ships blown up first, just in case. I'm nothing if not completely paranoid. There's no sense risking losing that ship because it's not defended. It's got tons of space for troops, but it has no actual weapons on it. Oh, somebody's firing missiles at me again. How quaint. It will figure it out though, I'm sure. Lots and lots and lots of missiles, and not a single one has a chance. Isn't that something? And I'm clicking the 5-minute button, but it's only ever going a few seconds anyway, so I might as well just click the 5-second button, I guess. Goodbye, missiles. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You have no chance. Yeah, this is just such a one-sided, masochistic pounding. I love it. This is the way space battles should be. It's the sort of thing you never really ever see on shows like Star Trek or anything along that genre. They always try and make it look like it's a close fight. And I guess the Sluggers battle was a close fight because I took down some of the Wolverines before getting blown up, but at least it was a hefty battle. This is not even close. This is not a competition. This is just a mop-up duty. This is closer to janitorial work than actual, like, risky combat. And I'm not complaining in the slightest. Should zoom in a little bit more so I can see what's happening. Briefly, until the next barrage of missiles gets there, I guess. I think that's the end of the missiles, I think. Could be wrong, but I thought that was all of them. Now they're tapping me with energy weapons. Which is lovely and all, but not really a big deal. Although they actually hit my shields enough that I actually noticed. That's impressive. It's not helpful, but it's impressive. Anyway, we're just waiting on the plasmas to charge back up before I add another wreck to the center. There we go. There's several wrecks to join the wreck that was already there. Oops. Let's get back in here so I can see. Yep, so that's all that's here. Nothing else exciting. So now I guess we'll come over here and see if they have any ships or PDCs or anything. Because a PDC could wreck my Cerberus just as easily as a ship could. These might just be little missile bases, because there's very little thermal there, but, well, I'll move over there and we'll take a look. But clearly now it is safe enough for the Cerberus to enter. It's nowhere near here yet, of course, but it's definitely going to be safe enough for it to enter. It's going to be almost a month before it arrives anyway, so not a big deal. Okay. So I guess here we're just going to do some scanning. Well, I don't see any more missiles coming, so maybe they're not even missile bases. Maybe they were just like ammunition stores for those ships. So this actually still might not really have been an actual proper race point. I think this might have just been a slightly larger one like we fought the first time. Larger because there's also alien, old ancient ruins there as well. But as far as I can tell, there's nothing here. Although there is a population. It's very small, but there is a population, which means theoretically they could rebuild stuff. Having said that, I don't know that I can keep the broadsword here indefinitely, but I can definitely stick around for a few days. That's fine. Before it has to go back and get some repairs done. Cerberus should be arriving fairly soon. If we're actually going 5 days at a time, which we're not. Looks like it's doing 2-day increments for some reason. But if that's fine, it should still not be too much longer. I wonder if you can actually do orbital bombardment. I wonder if that's actually a thing one could do. The other thing I could do if I want to be a real jerk, if I ever find like an actual large population, and I don't think I can take them with ground forces, once I scan them and learn enough about their race to find out what their temperature tolerance is, I can always just bring in my terraformers and just basically either freeze them out or burn them out by changing the temperature of their planet. It'd be a really mean way to get rid of civilians, but I guess it would work. Okay, the Cerberus really ought to be here by now. Or did it arrive and it just not tell me, or I didn't see it? Yeah, it arrived and it just either didn't tell me or I didn't see it. That's fantastic. Anyway, the population was at here. Okay. Well, then let us move over there. Oh, now this, though, I might have the same problem. Did I actually make this a cryo drop? Or just a standard? No, this is just standard. Shoot. Because I made it commercial. Okay, so this isn't going to work anyway. Poop. I needed to make a military combat drop one, not just a transporter. So that may not work. Okay, so now I do really need to see about trying to figure out how to bombard from orbit to get rid of that. Well, I mean, we're definitely there. So how do I tell you to fire on the population if I even can? I have to assume you should be able to. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to not be able to. Alright, let's just clear everything here and say you. Yeah, maybe you can't. That is disappointing. I mean, it's kind of mean to... Preparing to fire, but our weapons are not yet ready. Okay, that's fine. Well, I think I did. Oh, okay, so you can fire on... I kind of figured you should be able to. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense that you wouldn't be allowed to. It's kind of the whole point of why you need to have PDCs with barracks in them, because PDCs are built into the sides of mountains or underground or something. So any barracks they have, like those troops, are pretty safe from that sort of shenanigans. What was the Cerberus complaining about? Oh, because all the ground forces are gone. That makes sense. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go to those ruins at 2. And we will create an archaeological dig. Well, we'll try to. Did that not do it? I know you threw an error, but did you not actually do it? No, you did not do it. Why did you not do it? Oh, maybe I missed it. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, now we should have an archaeological dig. There, okay. So we need a xenology team, and I may as well do a geological one as well while I'm at it. No reason not to. But the xenology team is the most important part. So we'll get that going. Thank you for that. And just for grins, we'll do a geology team as well. Okay, so they will be there for quite a while. I'll have the Cerberus just drop off those troops. Just because there's no reason not to. But otherwise, it can just sit there. There's nothing else for it to do until the xenology team is done. I've now removed all sign of opposition. There's not even any ground forces. There's no population that I think has any real say in the matter. Or is there? Well, there's still population there. So, I wonder if I should just nuke them from orbit or if I should actually like send in troops. Would it be worth building a little... Yeah, I think it's going to be worth building a little combat vessel. So, oops, let's go over here. I will shut off the broadsword from shooting. So now it's not going to blow away these last few people there. The other ones were ground troops. I don't mind shooting them, but I'm not real keen on shooting civilians from orbit. And yet I'm willing to make their planet freeze or roast. Don't ask. I don't know either why it's different. It just is. Actually, on Earth, do we still have the Giga military, I guess it was called? I do. Okay, I'll just build one of those back up. That should not take long at all. Yeah, that'll take no time at all. Then I'll just float over, pick up the troops I just dropped off, because they don't need to be there yet anyway, and then slide them over to there. Yeah, that'll totally work. That should work just fine. Excellent. And the broadsword would like to come home for repairs. It's starting to break down. That's fine. It's done an excellent job. It totally deserves to be allowed to come back to Earth. Refuel, resupply, overhaul, all that usual crap. Okay. And let's zip ahead and get that. Yes, I know stuff is lost. I'm not there anymore. Thank you. Well done. Anyway. And just a few more days here. Oh, so it was good I put a geology team there. They just found a whole pile of titanium. That's cool. But not what we're interested in right this minute. First, we need a giga military. There we go. Okay. I do need to get rid of that geology team now, or they'll keep complaining that there's nothing else for them to do. That's fine. Right, now, shipyard group. You can disattach. That was almost remotely an English word. How about detach? Wow. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, you can head down to wherever GJ is. There it is. And you will load up. All these ground forces. There's no real need for the construction brigades to be there yet anyway. And they can fight, just not very well. Obviously the real fighting will be done by these three, but that's fine. And you think that will be a little over a month. No problemo. Let's jump ahead a month. And some more. Okay. Oops. Did it make it? Is it done? I didn't see any message about it. Oh, you're there, and now you're loading. That's fine. Not sure why I don't see you there, but... But okay, whatever. Not a big deal. Maybe I have something hidden here or something. I don't know. Or maybe just need to refresh. I don't know. Either way, it's there. It has picked our lads up, so now we can take them over and do a proper combat drop. Which, of course, you don't know which it is because you don't have anything scanning. Right. Well, I know it's over here, so... So A1. Okay. A1, A1, A1. Okay, so just float yourself over there. That should not take very long at all. Okay. Now, you don't have any scanners at all, so you can't even see where they are. Okay. Now, I know exactly how to fix that. Mr. Bastone, good sir. How would you like to come over and help us here? You would? That's fantastic. You're so cooperative. You so almost didn't actually get a choice. But same thing. Okay. Give that several days to get here. And now we should actually be able to see them. Right. I'm not sure why it shows them as being as part of the orbit, not on the actual planet. Because it's not like a moon or anything, they're just showing as though they are in orbit. Which is really kind of weird. But anyway, I guess we won't worry about it. The important part is now we know where they are, which means contact. And I'm still not seeing anything about combat drops. Because it wouldn't really be a boarding action, would it? Don't think so. Yeah, because that's not a combat drop situation. So why am I not allowed to just drop them off to attack? Ugh, I am so confused. If I just built this ship for absolutely nothing, I am going to be kind of upset. Because it just doesn't really make any sense. All your ground troops are here. They're more than happy. It's not like it's a combat setting thing. Like it's not actual direct combat. Okay. I just don't understand what's happening here. Huh. But yeah, you clearly don't want to actually combat drop these. Do I have to have an official colony here? I shouldn't have to. Well, I can't anyway. It's a gas giant. Then what are these? Because you can't colonize a gas giant. Which does mean I built those troops, that troop ship for nothing. Because I won't be able to put anything now. And what are these? It's not like it's a little ship, so it's, you know, like my gas pump or something. What is going on here? I am so lost. So it's like these are just like populations floating around in space. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to put a cut in the episode here. I'll muck around with it a little bit off camera, see if I can figure something out, and failing that, I'll just send the Bugstomper in and just bombard them from orbit and be done with it. Clearly, with only thermal 10, there's not, whatever it is, it's not much. It might be some little building. I don't know how you're allowed to even do this. It makes no sense to me. So I guess I'm going to pretty much ignore it. And once I resolve this one way or the other, whichever way it doesn't even really matter, then I can send those guys back over here. I have no idea how much longer the Xenology team will be at it, but it could be quite a while. And the other thing I'm going to do in the meantime is I'll send the salvage vessel in, because there's a ton of wrecks. One of mine, a whole bunch of theirs. So I've got a lot of salvaging to do as well. So anyway, so I'll have quite a bit done between this session and the next. So once again, the clock will be miles ahead of where you are now, but it's all pretty boring and administrative type stuff anyway, so you're not going to be missing much. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode and all the fantastic bug squashing we did, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So until then, stay calm, and we'll see you then. Bye now.